Thank you so much for taking the time to be here to learn a little bit more about our delegation, the Jordan story, and what the Ministry of Digital Economy and Jordan Source have to offer. But most importantly, what I really want to tell you about today is how we're changing the narrative when it comes to the Jordanian tech scene. So my name is Dana Dabish and I am a woman from Jordan. Whenever I say this to a room filled with people, they always have a few assumptions, right? Or the few stereotypes that come to mind. The first being, you don't really look Jordanian. So that's the first question mark that you physically see on people's minds. The second is, you don't really sound Jordanian. But let me tell you that whenever I get to talk about my country and I get to talk about our wonderful entrepreneurs that you're going to get the opportunity to learn more about today, it is my biggest pride and honor. So thank you all for being here today. Whenever I hear these stereotypes, I'm so confused as to where it all started. Because growing up, you are surrounded by so much innovation, so much technology, and so much to really be proud of when you grow up in Jordan. So for example, when I think about Jordanian women, I think about someone like Juliana Sadiq, the #1 Taekwondo in her weight class in the world that is a Jordanian, and she's actually quite young as well, and she's setting a wonderful example for so many Jordanian athletes around the world. When I think about Jordanian talent, I think about artists that have made it onto billboards in Times Square that are Jordanian, that are singing about Jordan, and that have this wonderful sense of patriotism to them. When I think about Jordanian women, I think about women that are drummers and are changing the face of the gaming industry in the morning in a company that grows 110% year on year. So that's the Jordan that I grew up in. Where did this divide come from? Where did this stereotype of, oh, you're in the Middle East, oh, do you guys ride camels? Or if you're not a camel, does that mean that you have an oil well? It's quite difficult to explain the situation that Jordan's in from afar. But let me tell you a little bit about some of the technology innovation that we got to witness. So in 1998, we saw the first Arabic email solution, that was Maktub. Maktub was a revolution not only for Jordan, but for the Middle East as a whole, and it was later acquired by Yahoo, and it was the largest acquisition in the Middle East at the time. When we think about Jordanian talent, we think about the fact that even though as a percentage of the population of the MENA region, we are around 3%, but we create 75% of all of the Arabic content that is available online, showcasing how you can really access the Middle East through Jordan. We also have the first mobile gaming company in the Middle East that was founded in 2003, who you're going to get to meet the founder of. He's in this room with us. And this is going to be the theme of tonight. I'm going to talk about primarily people that you're going to get the opportunity to meet, because just within this room, you're going to be surprised at the amount of creativity, the amount of technology and innovation and entrepreneurship that you're going to encounter. So one of the things that I find really interesting and really showcases how you can be a local but think global. So if you were on your couch in London, you're getting a little hungry, you're getting a little lazy, and you wanted to order something through Deliveroo, you would have never imagined that your order is getting processed through Amman, Jordan, from Webhelp. So that is one of the companies that have managed to create enormous success in the Middle East, servicing an international audience. So although we always say that the gateway to the Middle Eastern audience is through Jordan, but in reality, you can also access an international audience with very competent hands and talent that are ready and eager to work through Jordan. We also just came back from Austin, Texas, and this is something we're really excited about. This was the first Arab participation in South by Southwest ever, and it was led by the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship, representing the whole of Jordan. And to be honest, I like to believe that we made a little bit of a splash. So whenever you look at any of the footage that came out of South by Southwest, you'll see that Jordan was heavily featured, as the participation was not only meaningful as it's the first Arab country participation, but it also had a very special weight because of the delegates that really made it what it is. Whenever we think about Jordan and the technology and all of the possibilities that are available, and most importantly, the people that have actually made it possible. So we think, why, right? It's a country on the smaller side. Why is it that Jordan is fostering this much innovation? And the answer is simple. First off, Jordan is young. 52% of our population is under the age of 24. That means that they have a fresh global perspective on life and they are ready and eager to show the world what they are capable of. We also have a very strong educational system, and Jordanians are businessmen and entrepreneurs by nature, and I'm pretty sure if you walk by any street in Jordan, you're going to see that sense of an entrepreneurship, whether you're talking to a 70-year-old man or a 5-year-old kid, you're going to see it. But it's also really manifested in our educational sector. So first off, we start learning English mandatory in the first grade, so you have a very strong bilingual population. And we're also very passionate when it comes to technology. So you have 8,000 students graduating on a yearly basis studying IT-related topics. And these are people that have some phenomenal learning experience from wonderful teachers, because again, Jordanians are entrepreneurs by nature and they speak from their own experiences. We also did online learning before it was cool. Before the entire world started talking about it, before COVID and all of the kids went to their tablets and it became mandatory, we actually had one of our delegates that's here in the room with us today, that founded Joe Academy back in 2015. And now it has almost 1,400,000, صح? All right, 1,400,000 users on it that are going to be able to get a quality education no matter where they are in the kingdom and throughout different kinds of courses. We also have a fascinating entrepreneurial ecosystem. So we have quite a bit of different kinds of incubators. You're also going to get to meet some of them that are with us in the room today. So we have Flat 6 Labs on the screen, but of course we have Nino representing Endeavor in the room. So of course, if you want to ask more about the entrepreneurial side, you get to pick our delegates' brains, and I'm sure they will do a phenomenal job explaining the story of Jordan to you. And whenever we think about the current situation in Jordan, we're like, all right, we're doing quite good for ourselves, but of course we have massive ambitions and we are just getting started. But whenever we also think to the future, we realize that a lot of pioneering innovation is coming out of Jordan. So you have a startup called Zina AI working on the first Arabic Alexa, because I'm sure that nobody could disagree. Sometimes it feels so fulfilling to speak in your own language, in your own dialect, and to be understood, especially if you're talking to your phone. So in Jordan, we have multiple dialects, and Zina AI have managed to crack the code and make the service available throughout multiple dialects, which is a very special feature. And we also have the largest humanitarian blockchain solution that is currently on ground through IrisGuard, that is enabling hundreds of thousands of refugees to make payments with a blink of an eye. Of course, we have Kenny Medhas who can tell you a little bit more about it. So that is our story in a glance. Allow me to play a quick video, and then we're going to have a few words from His Excellency. And then, of course, we get to talk a little bit more about our delegates.
Jordan's ICT sector proved to be exceptionally resilient. Jordan's quality talent delivers a well-educated, bilingual, tech-savvy, and price-competitive workforce. We are making long-term commitments to invest in this booming sector and to empower companies who engage Jordanian ITOs and BPOs. Join us as we take this leap into a bright, promising future.
Dear guests, friends, brothers, sisters, sons and daughters, organizing this for us. This is not my real voice. I lost my voice at the time I landed over here, so I'm trying to get it back. Today it's much better. I think you have what Dana said. I don't know if you did follow on what he said, but she mentioned so many of the first. And it wouldn't be overconfidence when I say, yes, we have been the first in doing so many things in the Middle East when it comes to technology, when it comes to entrepreneurship. With 9.5 million in population, 11 million in population, including the refugees and visitors in Jordan, where more than 50% are less than, more than 60% are below 30 years old. Very limited natural resources. Our natural resources, putting phosphate and potash on the side, nothing else. So the only real natural resource what we have is those people sitting with you around this table. That's our real treasure in Jordan. That's what we have been counting on for so many years, and we'll keep counting on for the so many years to come. Jordan comes in the heart of the MENA region, with physical borders to 6 countries representing 50% of the Arab world, 200 million in population. So although we are 11 million in population in Jordan, we serve markets of an accumulated population of 200 million, with direct access to these markets, with full understanding of the dynamics of these markets. Most of the ICT development in most of these markets is actually done by Jordanians, with a very high percentage of these projects where Jordanians contributed to most of these projects. Jordanians have been the implementers of the technology in the Middle East for the last, since computer first entered the Middle East. And the first computer entered to the Middle East, entered to Jordan. When it comes to infrastructure, I think we have the most advanced infrastructure. Although we are late in launching 5G, but still our infrastructure is so mature. When it comes to fiber networks or mobile networks, with multiple choices, multiple layers of infrastructure elements. When it comes to human resources, as Anna said, we graduate 8,000 in ICT, but we graduate more than 20,000 in technical and ICT-related majors like engineering, math or physics, in addition to ICT. We contribute to 25% of the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the region. 25%, which means 25 companies of each 100 startups in the Middle East are Jordanians in the whole Arab world. And what do we get from the total investments in the Middle East? Less than 5%. So with less than 5% investments, we contribute 25% projects into the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Why? Again, it's because of the people sitting around this table from Jordan who represent the youth that we have in Jordan, where with the very limited resources, we have been able to do miracles. At the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship, originally known as Ministry of Telecommunication and Information Technology, our scope of work changed to be the enabler for digital transformation in Jordan through our national transformation strategy that we are responsible for. And we come as with 35 million GDP's investment in digital transformation every year. 35 million GDPs, that's $50 million. That's what we get as a budget to digital transformation. But believe it or not, we're the 5th in the Arab world. So when you compare this 50 million to 50 billion, okay, and we are on the 5th, we rank 5th in the Middle East. This is something, this is a story by itself. Part of our mandate is to actually promote Jordan as a destination for investment, as a gateway to the Middle East region. I don't know if you noticed something that Dan showed in one of the slides. We contribute to 75% of the Arabic content on the internet. Out of the top 10 Arabic platforms. Okay. I think 5 or 6 of them are Jordanians. The top 3 are Jordanians. So yes, we do contribute to most of the Arabic content. Most of the subtitles in Arabic that you see in most of the series and movies is done by a company that has been doing the subtitles since I think 1950s or 1940s. Whoever is willing to come into the Middle East, whoever is willing to serve the Middle East, whoever is willing to serve the Arab world, the best choice is Jordan for so many different reasons. And this is why we have around 2,000 people serving Amazon in Jordan. We have 1,500 serving Cisco in Jordan. As Dana said, we serve Deliveroo from Jordan. We have people working for Microsoft serving the Levant area in Jordan. We have WebHelp, which is an international outsourcing company which choose to have, out of 70 offices worldwide, they choose to have one in Jordan. We are very close to welcoming Teleperformance in Jordan as well. It has been back and forth with them for so long. And finally, I think they made their decision to come into Jordan. We do offer very attractive incentive plans actually for people who are willing to come to Jordan. That includes salary support, scalability support. We do salary subsidy actually, and scalability support. Our incentive plan when it comes to the tax framework, we're talking about 0 sales tax, 0 rated sales tax, 5% income tax, 0 export tax, in addition to so many other support programs that actually encourages people to come into Jordan. We do the upskilling pillar where we're responsible for bridging the gap between supply and demand. We all know that the outcome of the education today does not match the requirements does not match the skills demand in the private sector. So our job is to bridge that gap and upskill people to be able to easily join the workforce, partnering with local and international professionals in doing this. On the other side, we're also, as I said, a small market with a very small GDP. Although we are the best in growing startups, okay, but there is a level or a stage or a limit where startups need to explore the opportunity somewhere else. They need to scale up and expand somewhere else to other markets. So one of our main responsibilities as well is to find them the easiest channel to access other markets. Of course, US is one of their top destinations where at the moment we're working on multiple funds actually in 2 stages. One, the ideation. We need to put in as much investments as possible in the ideation phase to keep the to support high potential companies who are capable to scale up regionally and internationally within partnership with the UAE government. Plus we have the Central Bank of Jordan launched a fund of $100 million that will grow to $200 million, and this is a fund of funds to attract VCs to come into Jordan and invest in Jordanian startups. Plus the banks of Jordan collectively established a fund of $400 million, which is supposed to be launched very soon, and this is to invest in startups and SMEs. SMEs in Jordan are considered startups here in the US or in other markets. So we cover SMEs as well under the umbrella of startups. Recently, Jordan launched its economical vision, and in this vision, ICT is going to play a major role, as it did for the last so many years. We're expected to contribute heavily to the jobs creation in Jordan. Our sector is the fastest growing in job creation. We come most probably the second best contributor to new jobs in Jordan. When we have in this role, on the business process and IT outsourcing, we have 3 types of companies operating in Jordan. One are international and regional companies outsourcing to local companies in Jordan, where Cisco is outsourcing to one of our local companies who has been there for the last 20 years doing ICT support. We have companies who are opening up their back offices in Jordan, like Amazon, PwC, for example, serves the region through 1,500 employees up in Jordan. Deloitte just started their back office in Jordan. Aramix International Courier Company is operating the back office in Jordan, and so many other companies. And we do have the international outsourcing companies like Webhelp, who actually started an office in Jordan to serve their international customers. This is one of the sectors we're trying to promote, and believe it or not, they're not only serving the Arab world, they're serving the Arab world and a big part of Europe. I think if I can carry on and talk about Jordan for 2 days non-stop, and I'm going to stop here and leave it for you to ask if you have any question with me or anybody of or any member of our delegation. I will be more than happy to answer any question that you have in mind. Once again, thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you, Arvid, for your support and help. And also, please, if you feel you want to ask any of our people around the table any question, or you meet them in person, as Dana said, please feel free to talk to them, and they'll be able to talk better than me about what they can do when it comes to ICT and the rural ecosystem or the rural projects. Thank you.
No, thank you, Minister, and thank you all of us, the people to join us this evening. I'm honored to just speak a little bit on my experience with Jordan, and I've known the Minister for a few years now, and Jordan is very unique. I was telling some of the friends over here that they pick the right people from the industry to head ministries, and Minister Anande is one of them. He used to head a telecom company in Jordan and other companies in the region before he became a minister. And the second biggest experience I've had with Jordan is that when I compare to the size of India, the scale of India, which is where I am involved in the digital transformation projects, they're actually doing a lot of those things similarly in Jordan. Of course, the scale is different, 10 million and 1.4 billion in India, but all the same ingredients are there, which is, the talent, the platforms, the venture capital funds, and the human resources, the skills. So, whenever I have gone to Jordan, and last I was meeting somebody from Iris Card, and I was there in Jordan during the MENA summit, which is the biggest ICT summit. And for those of you who attended the NASSCOM summit in India, the NASSCOM NIL, the National Industry Leadership Forum, the NASSCOM's big event that happens every year in Mumbai, this is at the same scale. This is actually probably bigger than that. So what I came back from the impression of my visits to Oman and Jordan was very high ecosystem in terms of startups and sort of ICT, new technologies, AI, robotics, drones, you name it and they're doing it. Very high education and of course led by the ministry, because the ministry that actually has two components to it. I don't know whether you can see, it says Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship. So both of them are combined under the single ministry, and there are only few ministries in the world. Even in India, it's still called Electronics and IT. It's not, my ministry in India is called Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. It's still not transformed to a Ministry of Digital Economy. So I think that also shows a very forward-looking vision of the ministry. But what I actually wanted to ask, and he has made me come and say this few things here on the stage, was that today with the geopolitically, Jordan has a very stable regime, both political regime as well as the minister jokingly said that being in a region where there's nothing can be taken away makes it more stable from a geopolitical perspective. So there is, and that I think is now when countries are considering friendshoring, or companies are considering going to regions where they can trust the political stability, Jordan presents that as a very big option. And I don't know how much that plays in the decisions when we think about operating from the Middle East, apart from the talent or the Arabic content and other things. But to me, when I discuss with global leaders and the heads of states globally, that is the number one decision criteria for companies today, that to make sure that there is political stability. And what we have seen with the Ukraine to Poland crisis, I mean, what a lot of back office support centers that were in Ukraine have been disrupted very severely. So,
when it comes to geopolitical stability, Jordan is the second highest in the world in refugee per capita. So although we have limited resources, although our water can hardly be enough, okay, for the whole population, okay, we receive we host more than 3 million refugees in Jordan. And this is not a small number. This is a huge number for a country as big as Jordan, for an economy as big as Jordan economy. Of course, most of this is credited to our leadership. King Abdullah or the Hashemite leadership of Jordan has been always playing the neutral role. They have been the friend of everybody. They stood by everybody. They have defended everybody, and we keep ourselves away from the political conflicts that happens worldwide. So thanks to that wise leadership and the respect that people have for this leadership globally, we managed to maintain the geopolitical stability in Jordan. If there's any question, please,
Thank you. I think Vish Mishra had to ask something.
Yeah. By the way, first of all, congratulations. Very impressive. I did not know much about Jordan, but just listening to what's happening, I'm so impressed with the progress that you made for a small country. And this innovation and entrepreneurship that you talked about, I met some of the entrepreneurs in the room already, very impressive. So to fund the entrepreneurs, so where is the capital coming from? Is the venture capital scene emerging, or mostly government money or private individuals? How is the company getting financed? Thank you.
One of the first things that happened in the region that I missed to say, that the first incubator in the Middle East was established in Jordan. King Abdullah, when he started, he saw the potential in the entrepreneurial ecosystem before we even knew that there is a word called entrepreneurship in the world. we started, the first fund in Jordan was in '88. The first entrepreneurial fund. It was not called entrepreneurial fund at that time. It was called technology fund. It was for $2 million. And out of these $2 million, around, I think, 10 or 11 companies were established, and they're still there till today. And most of them are serving multiple countries. For example, one of them is in the fintech solution, operating in 28 countries, serving 130 banks of the top banks worldwide, from Citibank to all local banks in Jordan. The second largest fund that came into our sector, at least, that we can call it entrepreneurial fund, was a fund that came from Cisco, I think, at that time, for $4 million. I think Martes can correct me if I'm wrong. And that supported the establishment of so many other companies. One of them, Lizarra, who is here in the room, that serves Cisco for the last 20 years from Jordan. The other one was Global, a company that serves more than 35 markets and more than 70, 80 telecom operators worldwide. Maktub was one of the companies. Maktub was the first Arabic search engine, an Arabic email platform that was acquired by Yahoo in the biggest acquisition at that time for $150 million, if I'm not mistaken. The same people who did Maktub did Souk.com, which is the largest Arabic e-commerce platform that was acquired later by Amazon. And then the ecosystem attracted the foreign direct investment. Today in Jordan we have around 13 VCs operating in Jordan, registered and investing in Jordan. With His Majesty putting the cornerstone through the first incubator, investing in the ideation, the entrepreneurial ecosystem started to evolve. So we moved from investments in technology and ICT into investment in entrepreneurship. That started, I think, with 6 million GDs all put through the private sector. But today we're talking about multiple venture capitalists working in Jordan and operating in Jordan. We're seeking to increase that portfolio of investment available for startups in Jordan, and at the same time investing in the ideation phase to get more companies qualified into going into that section and into that ecosystem.